We just shot a video on mapping and a harmonic analysis of this tune, There Will Never Be Another You. And now I would like to just take a look at this tune from the perspective of building a chord melody arrangement and how we go about doing that. All right, so in the last video, we discovered that we're in the key of E flat major. When I work on a tune like this, I'll put the scales underneath my fingers and sort of orient myself to the key that I'm in. Which is a good idea, right? Start to think in the key of E flat, and just get a feel for it before you start jumping in and doing an arrangement. Okay. So in the last video, I also mentioned that we start on the 1 chord and then we move to the 2, 5 to the which moves to its relative minor. And then again, 2, 5 moving to the 4 chord, 2, 5 moving back to the 1 chord, and then the 6 chord, and then the related 5 of that 6 chord, and all of these things are good for you to know before you jump in. So if you could check out that last video, that would be great. Okay, so let's just take a look at what we've got here to begin with. The first phrase. So we've got a nice little diatonic line according to the key, and now what we want to do is see if we can create some interest there. It all happens with an E flat as the tonality. How about, I'm just using the E flat chord to add some interest to the notes that we have. We start on that B flat, and then I just keep the dissonance of that between the 5 and the 6. Adding the chord. You could even add this 6/9 chord. And then we D minor 7 flat 5 with the F on top. Really nice, easy change here with the G7 and the flat 9. So let's try that again. There's my melody. C minor. So here's my C minor. And I'm going to the 2 chord, B flat minor, changing to the E flat 7, E flat 9 in this case. So let's take it from the top. Or nice, simple one note change there to the 7 flat 9, C minor. So A flat. So I think of A flat, you've got an A flat down here, I think of an A flat up here, and a little cluster of chords that are A flat sounds or major sounds. And so the melody would go up to this E flat, I use this 6/9 a lot because it sort of morphs into other chords. And then A flat. I'm just following the melody. A flat. See the A flat major 7, right, like that, with the melody on top. And there's the A flat. There's that 6/9 again, right? And then yeah, that's okay. I'm just using this F minor 7 flat 5 with the melody note on top. E flat. C minor. So the C minor is it's like this, right? C minor 11, because of the melody note, it becomes an 11. And then the F7, F7 or F9. The F minor. That's just an E flat. And then we're back. Because the form that we have here is 16 plus 16. And so we just went through the 16. You can see the double bar line there. And now we're just going to repeat the same thing again. And we have a tag at the end. So let's just repeat what we had in the first 16, and let's do it in the second 16. Just using a 13 with a flat 9. B flat minor 7. There's the A flat something. 6/9 or something, as I said, I sort of have these points on the fretboard where these points where you can like this is an A flat, this is an A flat, this is an A flat, this is an A flat. So this is an A flat with a 6/9, and then working my way down. And then that same thing again. E flat. And then the G minor. And then maybe the C7. Right? I have to put the 13 on top. Maybe. I could change here with the C on top. Right. D7. And we're down here now. D7. I'm playing a 13. No big deal. Doesn't change the chord at all. This is a D7 with a flat 9. Same as a diminished chord. And then G7. And I'm using the augmented because it's in the melody. Actually, this chord could also be called a D flat 13, right? A tritone substitution, but. And then the C7, again, using that diminished. This diminished, just think of it as a dominant 7 chord. And then the C7 with the A flat, up on top, or the G sharp would be a better way to look at it because it's just an augmented. Makes the chord C7 with an augmented. And then a 2, and a 5, and a resolution to a 1. Okay, so not, I mean, to bring this tune up to a fair clip, you'd have to do some, some work. When I work on a chord melody arrangement, I sort of begin to lock in an arrangement, and then I play it over and over and over and over. I remember a gig I did a few years ago, just came to my mind, and I was playing with a piano player, and it was a quartet, and playing with a piano player, upright player, and a kit. And we were having a break, and someone asked me, how do you learn your tunes like that? And I said, well, I do this process, and then explain the process that I'm explaining to you, and then once I start to lock in an arrangement, I play that arrangement, over and over again, maybe 50 times, right? And the piano player was just walking by me at that time. He said, 50 times? Man, I have to do it at least 200. So I thought that was interesting, but repetition is important, right? Another one that comes to mind, I went to a teacher in Toronto many years ago. His name was Art de Villiers. He was a wonderful chord melody player. And I worked up a chord melody for Misty, and he said, "Yeah, that's great. That sounds really good. Now, you just have to practice it maybe 50 or 100 times, and then learn another 100 like it." Yeah, that's sort of what happens, right? That if you want to build a repertoire, you adopt a tune one tune at a time. So if it's going to be a tune like "There Will Never Be Another You can explain it and teach it to someone else. You can say, well, this is, the one chord, and then it goes 2-5 to the 6, and it goes 2-5 to the 4, and then, because all of this is going to help you remember the tonality of the tune. And then you can memorize it. You can begin to solo over it. You can, you just tear it apart, keep deconstructing and reconstructing, deconstruct, reconstruct. And when you get to building a solo arrangement on something like this, then you really getting down into what the tune is about. If I've done a fair bit of trio playing, and trios are a trick because you have to sort of keep the interest of the audience by doing more than just one thing. Like soloing single note lines is fun. But if you're in a situation where, let's say you're playing in a lounge or something, and you really want to be able to do more than that, you have to do more than that. You build an arrangement, then maybe you solo over that arrangement, and maybe then you do a chord type solo. And you do this with each tune that you play. I'm sure that you can also find this one in this key on YouTube with a playing, a backing track. I wouldn't suggest doing your chord melody with the backing track as much as just getting used to playing simple solo ideas along with the changes going by. And let me re-emphasize, you have to nail the changes. Don't fool yourself. Don't, as Joe Pass said in a workshop that I attended many years ago, he said, I don't play bullshit notes. I thought that was rather eloquent, and he doesn't. He's always heading somewhere, and everything works because he knows what he wants to hear, and he plays what he wants to hear. It's all coming from his head. The reason someone like Joe or any great jazz guitar player would play the same tunes. I heard him play Satin Doll several times, and because he's probably played it hundreds of times. He knows that tune. He knew that tune backwards and forwards and upside down, and that's what happens when you build repertoire. You build repertoire slowly. You start with one tune at a time, and then add another tune, and then add another tune, and you go through a process that will be repeated over and over again with each of the tunes that you play. If somebody says, "How does this tune go?" and you don't have a chart for the tune, you absolutely should be able to write down the changes. If you can't write down the changes, like just the chord changes, not necessarily the melody, that's another art in itself. But you've got to be able to write out the changes. If you can't write out the changes, you can't play the changes. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that was help for you. It's all got to do with learning as well. This is a great tune. It has a memorable melody. It doesn't go too deep in terms of modulations and alterations. It just works really well. And it's been played many, many, many times before by guitar players and horn players and the like. Okay. Thanks for dropping by. We'll see you again real soon.